Hello MAUSD families, my name is Patrick Reen, I'm Superintendent for MAUSD. I know there are a lot of questions out there about what school's going to look like in the fall, and I want to begin to answer some of those questions for you today. But before I do that, I want to first thank the more than 40 people on 8 teams that are helping to make some of the decisions as we think about reopening in the fall. This work is really complex. They have to factor in the state context, the regional context, and the local context, and there are many competing interests as we think about the decisions to reopen in the fall. To help you with a little understanding of the complexities in those decision making, I wanted you to take a look at this graphic. This graphic may help give you a sense of the complexity involved in the planning for reopening our schools. As you can see, there are influences at many levels we need to consider in building our plan, from the state level guidance to collaboration with partners throughout the Champlain Valley, to district-wide decisions, and then school-level decisions. All of this is happening while keeping in mind what's in the best interest of our students and families. To help us continue our planning with the best interest of our students and families in mind, I encourage families to complete the survey that we're sending out today, July 23rd. This survey is going to provide us with critical information about each of our students and the needs of their family. We're asking that you complete these surveys and return them by July 29th. And if you have more than one child in our school system, please fill out one survey for each of your children. Before we get into some of the details of the plan, I want to let you know that our priority is the safety and well-being of our students and our staff. We very much want to get all of our students back in our schools every day, but we can't do that until we feel we can do that safely. Until then, we want to work closely with the families to make sure that student needs are met, and to the extent that we can, we want to support family needs. So please, reach out to your child's principal if there's some unique need that your family has as we work through these challenging times. Let's talk about the schedule for reopening schools. As you may have seen in my written communication that came out last night, all school districts in the Champlain Valley are going to be reopening schools using a hybrid model. In MAUSD, that means that about half of our students are going to attend school physically Monday and Tuesday, and about half of our students are going to attend school physically Thursday and Friday. This leaves Wednesdays to give us a chance to deep clean the building. It also gives teachers a chance for some professional development as well as some planning time, and it's an opportunity for us to check in with students that may be struggling. As we're thinking about this hybrid model and the schedule for reopening, we are going to pay close attention to trying to keep family units together so that your schedule logistics are worked out as a family. We're also going to have a lot of safety precautions in place as students re-enter the buildings physically, and I'll talk more about those safety precautions in a little bit. But we also know that for many families, the safety precautions we're going to have in place won't be sufficient to satisfy your concerns about returning. For those families, we are working on offering a completely remote option for attending schools. So we'll talk more about the details of that later, but wanted to make sure that you understood that was going to be an option. We also recognize that for some families who need supervision for their children 5 days a week, the hybrid model may present a challenge. We are very interested in helping families out that are in this situation, but we're not sure yet exactly what we're going to be able to offer for support. Given that, we are encouraging families to look for support outside of leaning on MAUSD in the event that we're not able to meet that need, but we will continue to look at options, and we encourage you to fill out the survey to give us the information we need to understand what that need is and make some plans. All right, let's talk about the safety precautions we're going to have in place. So when students are physically present at school, all students and all adults are going to be expected to wash their hands frequently, use hand sanitizer, and everyone will be required to wear a cloth facial covering unless there's some sort of an exemption. We are also going to make sure that every adult and every student pass a health screening before they're allowed to attend school. So for students, that means at the first point of contact. Students that are riding the bus are going to have a health screening on the bus. Students that are not riding the bus to school will have their health screening take place when they arrive at school. We are also asking all families to apply a health screening at home before sending your child to school, just because that's going to really help simplify any potentially complicated situation if the student doesn't pass their health screening either at the bus or when they arrive at school. When students are physically present, they're going to be in small groups practicing physical distancing. We're also going to be working to avoid how much we mix groups of students together. That's going to help us with contact tracing should someone get sick. This is going to be harder to do with the realities of a high school schedule, but we're going to do the best that we can. We're also going to be monitoring the airflow of each building, paying close attention to any guidance that's issued related to the rate of air circulation. Our goal really is just to keep fresh air flowing as much as possible in all of our schools. Visitors to schools are going to be really limited as well. Only essential visits are going to be allowed, and each visitor is going to need to pass a health screening. We need to minimize the number of visitors to help reduce the risk to students and staff in the building. Now let's talk about transportation. School buses will be running. However, we're encouraging families to transport their children to school through private cars, or maybe students can walk or ride their bike to school. That's going to help minimize the number of students on the bus at any one time. For students that do need to ride the bus, we are going to be doing our health screening before students get on the bus, and we're going to have assigned seats for those students that ride the bus. Please be sure and fill out the survey on transportation that was sent out today. That's going to really help give us some good information to finalize our plans as we approach the reopening of school. I also want to make sure that you know that students who ride the bus, when they arrive at school, are going to be entering through a separate entrance because those students have already been screened. Students who don't use the bus to get to school are going to go through an entrance of their own where they'll receive their health screening upon entering the building. Now let's talk about school meals. Breakfast and lunch will be served in all of our schools, and students will have an opportunity to choose what they have for breakfast and lunch. School meals are going to be prepared safely in our kitchens, and they're going to be delivered safely to our classrooms as part of our Catering in the Classroom program. We're also working on sending food home, so stay tuned for more information on that. Let's talk about athletics and activities. We know that athletics and activities that we offer as part of our programming are a huge part of the life of our students and their families in MAUSD. And I know we're looking for a lot of answers about what the fall is going to bring, and unfortunately I don't have a lot of those answers right now, except to say that MAUSD, working with the Vermont Principals Association and others, are going to be looking closely at the COVID situation, and as soon as we can safely resume our sports and our athletics and activities, we're going to be doing that. But until then, we're going to be waiting for guidance and monitoring the situation very carefully. In closing today, I just want to thank everyone again who's been involved in helping us make these challenging decisions as we work to reopen schools. We know this plan won't satisfy everyone, but we feel it's the best combination of bringing students back to school and keeping everyone safe. I'm going to be sending out a weekly communication as our plans develop for reopening schools, so please be looking for those on Thursday or Friday of each week as we approach the school opening and really even beyond. So thanks again, and make sure to fill out that survey, and we'll see you next week.